December 1967. Evening traffic was heavy on the Silver Bridge in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Families were heading home. Trucks were rumbling across the Ohio River. Then, without warning, the massive steel structure twisted, groaned, and collapsed. Dozens of vehicles plunged into the icy water below. 46 people died in one of the worst bridge disasters in American history. But for the people of Point Pleasant, this wasn't just an accident. For over a year, they believed they had been stalked by something. A winged figure nearly 7 feet tall with glowing red eyes. They called it the Mothman, and to this day, no one can explain what they really saw. The story begins 13 months earlier, in November of 1966, in the small town of Clendenin, West Virginia. A group of grave diggers were working late, preparing for a funeral the next day. It was quiet, except for the sound of shovels striking dirt. Then, one of the men froze. He had seen movement overhead. When the others looked up, they all saw it. A massive figure gliding across the sky. Its wingspan was enormous, much larger than any bird. It drifted silently over the treetops before disappearing into the darkness. The men would later describe it as a brown, man-like creature with wings. They were rattled, but had no way of knowing this was only the beginning. Just a few nights later, another encounter shook Point Pleasant. 2 young couples were driving near the old TNT plant on the outskirts of town. The plant had been abandoned since World War II, its concrete storage domes overgrown with weeds and vines. As their headlights swept across the road, something appeared. Standing directly in their path was a figure nearly 7 feet tall. It had the shape of a man, broad shoulders, long limbs, but with massive wings folded tightly against its back, and its eyes glowed an unnatural red. The couple screamed. The driver floored it, swerving around the figure. But the creature didn't stay behind. It launched itself into the air, its wings snapping open with a sound like a canvas sail. For miles, it chased their car, swooping low, keeping pace with speeds over 100 miles an hour. Only when they reached the lights of town did it vanish into the night. They drove straight to the police station and filed a report. And just like that, the legend of Mothman had begun. News of the sighting spread fast. The local paper ran the headline, and the name Mothman was born, a nod to Batman, who was exploding in popularity at the time. And then, more sightings began pouring in. Over the next year, dozens of Point Pleasant residents claimed they had seen the same creature. Drivers reported it swooping over their cars. Hunters said it stalked them through the woods. One man said his dog vanished after he spotted 2 glowing eyes at the edge of his property. But it wasn't just the creature. Strange things began happening in town. Residents reported bright lights in the sky. Some said their phones rang late at night, but when they answered, there was only static. Others whispered about strange men in black suits, outsiders who showed up unannounced, asking questions no one should know the answers to. The fear was real. Families stopped going out at night. Teenagers dared each other to sneak out to the TNT plant, where nearly all of the sightings seemed to originate. And each week, more and more people were convinced that Point Pleasant was being haunted by something that wasn't supposed to exist. Then, in December of 1967, something terrible happened. The Silver Bridge was the lifeline of Point Pleasant, carrying traffic across the Ohio River into Ohio. On December 15th, at the peak of rush hour, disaster struck. The bridge gave way. A chain reaction of structural failures caused the roadway to twist and fall into the icy river. In less than a minute, 31 vehicles were gone. 46 people lost their lives. the residents of Point Pleasant, the tragedy was unbearable, but many saw it as the final chilling piece of a puzzle, because almost immediately, people began to connect the dots. The sightings of Mothman, the glowing red eyes, the sense that something terrible was coming. It all seemed to point to this disaster. Some survivors swore they had seen a figure perched on the bridge in the days before it collapsed. And perhaps strangest of all, after the collapse, Mothman was never seen in Point Pleasant again. So what was it? Skeptics argued that the Mothman was nothing more than a misidentified bird, possibly a sandhill crane that had flown out of its normal range. Cranes can have wingspans up to 10 feet, and they have red around their eyes. But locals didn't buy it. They knew the difference between a bird and the thing they saw. Others suggested something more sinister. The TNT plant had once stored dangerous chemicals. Could Mothman have been a mutation? Some kind of government experiment gone wrong? And then there was the paranormal theory, that Mothman was not a creature of flesh and blood at all, but a harbinger of doom, a supernatural warning that appears before great disasters. The story gained international attention after journalist John Keel published the Mothman prophecies. In 2002, Hollywood adapted the book into a film starring Richard Gere, cementing the Mothman as one of America's most enduring legends. Today, Point Pleasant embraces its strange history. There's a Mothman museum, an annual festival, and in the center of town, a 12-foot-tall metallic statue of the creature, wings outstretched, red eyes glaring. But behind the tourist attractions, the unease never fully went away, because too many people saw something, and too many of their stories matched. So what really happened in Point Pleasant? Was the Mothman nothing more than a bird, a product of fear and hysteria? Or was it something far darker, a warning no one understood until it was too late? The people who lived through it still believe. The question is, do you? Legends like the Mothman remind us that some mysteries refuse to die. Whether it was a warning, a curse, or something we'll never understand, the people of Point Pleasant still believe what they saw. What about you? Was the Mothman a simple mistake? Or was it a glimpse into something far darker? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want more chilling stories like this one, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got more strange encounters and unsolved mysteries coming soon, and you won't want to miss them.